A recent analysis by the British magazine The Economist has identified Korean therapeutic novels, which surged in popularity following the COVID-19 pandemic, as the latest K-trend making waves overseas.
영국 시사주간지 이코노미스트가 코로나19 유행 이후 인기가 급상승한 한국의 힐링 소설을 현재 해외에서 각광받는 최신 한국 트렌드로 꼽았습니다. 힐링 소설, therapeutic novels.
Yeah, and there's a lot of them about that have just recently been translated into English. For example, there was the one about the Delegate Dream department store. We've had the Hyunamdong bookstore that was translated into English, the Yeonnam-dong Smiley Laundromat, and now we have the Marigold Mind Laundry, which is the latest one. It's written by Yoon Jung-un, translated by Shanna Tan, a Singaporean translator, who is translating a lot of these therapeutic novels. And it's amazing to see that these have become big. I think it wasn't a novel that started it, but it was tteokbokki that started it.
Okay.
I Want to Die, But I Want to Eat Tteokbokki. And its sequel have been big hits. I think maybe because RM, for example, from BTS was recommending that as one of his must-reads.
Sure.
But certainly, maybe more than dramas, maybe more than movies. I don't know whether it's more than music, but certainly these therapeutic novels, these healing novels are coming to the fore.
I have been noticing a lot of online book clubs popping up here and there, you know, social media influencers recommending books quite a lot and Korean books popping up as well. So, you know, all of this ties in together, I think, with this story.
Yeah, and I have to say, I've read all of them that I've mentioned apart from the Marigold Mind Laundry, which is on my shelf, actually. I got it last week.
So my question is,
Yes.
did you find them therapeutic?
To greater and lesser extents, yes. I mean, the one set in Yeonnam-dong, which is my neighborhood almost, about the laundromat and about people helping each other, it was really cozy and it was really lovely. And I got to the end and I thought, yeah, it's good to live in Korea. There is hope, there is help, there is friendship.
Sure. Well, let's look at that word, therapeutic. You've mentioned it, and I think our listeners have a sort of understanding of what it means, but tell us more.
Well, let's look at the root, therapy. We can have physical therapy or we can have emotional therapy. You can go and see a therapist if you're having various emotional problems.
Sure.
So if something is therapeutic, it's going to help you in some ways. So it could be helping the body, but in this case, we're talking about helping the mind. I think the Korean expression used in the headline sums it up really well, and we can use it in English, healing.
우리는 이제 힐링 소설이라고 하잖아요. 근데 영어로는 healing이라고 하면은 진짜 상처를 치유하는 그런 의미를 좀 더 많이 가지고 있기 때문에 여기서는 healing book보다는 therapeutic book가 좀 더 어울릴 것 같아요. 자, therapy가 이제 이것도 역시 원래는 치료죠.
네.
그런데 이제 therapeutic 그러면은 치유하는 그런 느낌의 이런 뜻이 되겠습니다. 그다음에 therapist 라고 하면은 이런 이제 치유해주는 사람인데 이게 사실은 이제 상담사 분들이죠. 심리 상담을 해주시는 분들. 우리가 그냥 통칭으로 therapist라고 얘기할 수 있습니다.
You can have a physical therapist. If you break your leg, when you're healing and getting back to normal, you will go to the physical therapist who will give you exercises to help you.
그러네요. 심리 상담사만 therapist가 아니라 우리가 몸 아플 때 뭐 물리치료사도
네, 맞습니다.
therapist가 될 수 있고 뭔가 치유해주거나 치료해주거나 이런 분들에게 therapist라는 좀 broad한 그런 이름을 붙여줄 수가 있을 것 같아요.
We even have hypnotherapy, hypnotherapists that help people through hypnotism.
최면을 하는, 최면이 영어로는 hypnotherapy거든요. 그래서 hypnotherapist는 이거 최면을 하는 사람이 되겠죠. 최면술?
최면 치료하는 사람이에요. When you hypnotist is just doing hypnosis, but hypnotherapy is treatment through hypnosis.
네, 자 그럼 다시 돌아와서 therapeutic, and this word is used a lot when you talk about something that makes you feel good inside. You go, you know that movie? It was so therapeutic.
Exactly, or maybe you need a night out with your friends to talk about life and to sort out the problems of the world. And when it's over, you say, that was so therapeutic. I needed that.
Yeah, you know, a little girls' night out in my case, or just a simple coffee shop meet up with a friend can be therapeutic.
Just a little tea and sympathy, as we say in the UK.
그래요. 이제 therapeutic가 그래서 이렇게 정말 많이 씁니다. 그냥 좀 내가 힐링이 되는 것 같은 것들에는 다 붙일 수 있어요. 자, 그 다음에는 to make waves.
Well, if you make waves, you can literally make waves in the ocean, or you can make waves in society, meaning people notice you, meaning you have an impact on people, meaning you're maybe becoming more famous, people are talking about you, you're getting more well-known.
파동을 일으키다. 즉 여기서는 주목을 끈다라는 뜻으로 보면 되겠죠. The latest K-trend that's making waves is the therapeutic book.
Yes, and good luck to all the book readers. I hope you enjoy them.
네, more specifically, therapeutic novels.
Yes.
Here's the headline again. A recent analysis by the British magazine The Economist has identified Korean therapeutic novels, which surged in popularity following the COVID-19 pandemic, as the latest K-trend, making waves overseas. Let's move on to the next headline.
Scientists have found that while vegetarian diets lower disease risk in middle-aged individuals, the opposite is true for those over 65, who can significantly reduce these risks by adding fish to their diet.
채식이 중년층의 질병 위험을 낮추는 건 맞지만 65세 이상 노년층에는 오히려 그 반대며 후자의 경우 생선을 식단에 추가하면 이런 위험이 크게 줄어든다는 연구 결과가 나왔습니다. All right, tell us more about this.
Basically, I need to go vegetarian for the next 19 years and then go pescatarian.
Okay.
That's what's happening.
Do elaborate.
So middle-aged people going vegetarian, having a vegetarian diet is really good for you. It's lowering the risk of disease. However, when you hit 65, it becomes the opposite. You need to have some of that animal protein, and fish is recommended. So in the elderly vegetarians, they saw slightly higher risks for things like strokes, dementia, and Parkinson's disease. But when fish was added to the diet, that risk was significantly reduced. And so you're more likely to live longer and live more healthily. But if we look at it overall, if you eat a vegetarian diet, you have 12% less risk than those who have a meat-eating diet. And if you have a pesco-vegetarian diet, fish and vegetables, 18% less risk. So a little bit of fish goes a long way.
중년층 같은 경우에는 채식 굉장히 좋다고 합니다. 여러 가지 health benefit가 많이 있는 거죠. 건강을 굉장히 증진시켜주는 그런 식단이에요. 그런데 모든 연령대가 다 그렇진 않습니다. 65세 이상 노년층 같은 경우는 채식만 하면은 오히려 안 좋을 수도 있다. 그럴 때는 이제 생선 같은 이제 식물성 단백질을 추가하는 것이 굉장히 좋다. 네, 저 동물성 단백질이죠. 아이고, 생선이 왜 갑자기 식물이 됐을까요? I think I need some fish or some vegetables
well,
right now.
They say it's good for the brain. They say that oily fish is good for the brain.
Right, my brain's not working, as you
dear.
can see. Is there a definition for middle-aged individuals?
Us?
So what age bracket are we talking about?
This has changed over the years.
Yeah.
For me, and this is me personally, I would say 40s and 50s.
Okay.
I think when you get to 60, because in many countries 60 or 65 is the retirement age, that you could be seen as being elderly or getting towards being elderly. However, in your 40s and your 50s, you're middle-aged, you can't say you're young at 40. Sorry, Sue. That's not how it works.
I am young and over 40. What are you talking about?
We'll have words after the show, Sue.
자, 중년층, 영어로 middle-aged person, people, individuals 이런 단어 붙일 수 있고요. 그다음에 이제 뭐 장년층이 되면은 elderly.
Yeah, the elderly. In the UK, we often use OAPs. In the US, senior citizens.
그렇죠. OAP는 old aged pensioner인 거죠. 네. 근데 이제 그냥 OAP라는 약자를 영국에서 많이 씁니다. 그러니까 연금 수령을 받는 이제 연령대가 있으신 분들 뭐 이런 건데 미국에서는 senior citizen이라는 말을 많이 하고 이제 그 노년층이 되겠죠. And so we have, different diets are recommended for different age groups. For the middle-aged individuals, a vegetarian diet is great, as you said.
Yes.
But the opposite is true for the elderly.
Yeah, and if we use the opposite is true, that means we've had statement A, and when we use the opposite is true, meaning B is not the case. So it's a way of clarifying it's like this for this group, but it's not for this group, or this situation, but not for this situation.
Right. The opposite is true. 이건 이제 그 반대에 해당된다라는 뜻입니다. 중년층 같은 경우에는 채식만 해도 괜찮아요. 그렇지만 노년층은 그 반대다라는 것은 채식만 하면 별로 안 좋아요. 이 얘기가 되겠죠. 자, 그래서 여기서 true라는 건 진실이다라는 뜻이 있어서 우리 진실 혹은 거짓, 영어로는 true or false라고 합니다.
네.
Not true or lie. 이거 아니고요. True or
no,
false.
true or false is the expression we always use.
Exactly. 자, 그러면 다시 한번 제가 읽어볼게요. Scientists have found that while vegetarian diets lower disease risk in middle-aged individuals, the opposite is true for those over 65, who can significantly reduce these risks by adding fish to their diet. Let's move on to the final headline.
A report by Korea Credit Data finds that individuals in their 20s and 30s are the largest patrons of bars and cafes across all age groups, whereas those in their 40s and 50s tend to frequent fast food and bunshik restaurants.
한국 신용데이터가 내놓은 보고서에 따르면 국내 20대와 30대는 술집과 카페를 가장 많이 이용하는 반면 40대와 50대는 패스트푸드와 분식을 자주 찾는 것으로 나타났습니다. Oh, interesting. Tell us more.
It is, and it's also wide-ranging. The report covered something like 60,000 of these establishments. So we're talking restaurants, bars, cafes, bakeries, basically everywhere you could get food or drink. And what they found was that those in their 20s and 30s, they accounted for 52.4% of sales at bars. So they're the ones going out and having a good time at the bars. Whereas if you're in your 40s and 50s, if you're middle-aged, Sue, you're more likely to be spending your money at fast food restaurants or at these bunshik restaurants or some of these snack bars. So for fast food, 27% of sales went to those in their 40s. Did you have a hamburger yesterday?
I did not.
Okay, you're not one of those. And then the 50s were 26% of sales.
Interesting. 소비 경향을 보는 겁니다. 그래가지고 이제 전체 연령대 중에서라는 뜻의 across all age groups라는 표현이 나와 있어요. 그 중에서 이제 보니까 bars and cafes 이제 술을 판매하는 곳들과 카페는 누가 제일 많이 오는가? 20대와 30대가 많이 오더라.
네.
그다음에 이제 분식점, 그다음에 패스트푸드 매장 40대와 50대가 소비를 많이 하더라. 이런 트렌드예요. I would have thought people in their 40s and 50s would be more health conscious and wouldn't go to fast food restaurants.
Well, we're not talking about everybody going, but it's sort of the number of patrons. What's interesting, more men than women are going to bars, fast food restaurants and Korean restaurants, and more women are going to Western-style restaurants or non-Korean Asian restaurants and bakeries and dessert shops. So there is a gender divide in terms of where people are going.
주변만 살펴봐도 그런 이제 선호도가 있는 것 같아요. 남성분들은 한식 그다음에 아까 또 어디 많이 간다 그랬죠?
Fast food and bars.
패스트푸드와 그다음에 술을 마실 수 있는 곳들. 그다음에 여성 같은 경우에는 지금 그 서양 음식을 먹을 수 있는 식당이라든지 그다음에 아까 카페라고 하셨나요?
아시아 음식 it's not Korean but Asian food and then bakeries and dessert places.
같은 곳들. 네, 그런 데를 좀 더 많이 찾는다고 합니다. 이 설문조사에 의하면. 자, patron 볼게요.
Yes, a patron is a customer. We talk about a cafe's patrons or a restaurant's patrons. Those are the people who are going there. Those are the people who frequent there. And notice the pronunciation of frequent, not frequent.
That's right, because it's a verb in this case.
Yes.
자, 자주 간다라는 동사 frequent는 이제 frequent라는 형용사랑은 좀 강세가 다르죠. 자, 그다음에는 patron이라는 게 이제 고객이라는 뜻이에요. 우리 단골 할 때는 a regular 이렇게 많이 표현을 하고요. patron이라고 할 수도 있나요? 단골 손님?
I think you'll talk about patrons as opposed to a patron. Because when we call someone a patron, there's another meaning here, which is they're somebody who donates to an organization, who sort of funds, like, for example, some theaters, they will have the names of people on the backs of the seats because they've given money to support the theater. They're patrons.
그렇죠. 그때는 이제 후원자라는 뜻인데 그런 의미 말고 여기서는 고객이라는 의미로 patron이라는 단어를 썼습니다. P-A-T-R-O-N. 그 다음으로 tend to do something.
So if you have a choice, do you go for rice or noodles?
Rice.
So you tend to eat rice.
I do.
Yes, so if we tend to do something, we're more likely to do it. It's the more frequently chosen choice.
자, tend to 하고 뒤에 반드시 이제 동사가 나올 때 뭐뭐 하는 경향이 있다라고 해석을 합니다. I tend to go to the gym every day.
Yeah.
It's not true, but
But it can be. I tend to cry at sad movies.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. 슬픈 영화를 보면은 대체로 운다. 내가 이런 경향이 있는 거니까 주로 이러하다. I tend to 하고 동사가 나올 때는 이렇게 해석을 하고요. 그다음에 tend to 하고 명사, 어떤 상대, 사람 이렇게 나오면은 누구를 이게 대한다라는 뜻이 있어요. 그래가지고 레스토랑에서 I'll tend to you in a minute. 그러면 잠시 후에 제가 고객님 뭐라 그럴까요? 고객님에게 뭐 필요한 거 묻고 이렇게 뭐라고 해야 되지 우리말로는?
No, I'll look after you. I'll
Yeah.
deal with you. I'll give you what you want.
네.
I have to tend with my cats after the show.
그러니까 다룬다는 뜻이 원래는 있는데 이제 좀 두루두루 다르게 해석을 할 수 있겠고요. tend to 뒤에 이렇게 사람, 뭐 고양이 이렇게 상대가 나왔을 때는 좀 다른 의미예요. 그래서
Yeah.
우리가 지금 보는 거는 tend to 동사입니다. All right, well, here's the headline again. A report by Korea Credit Data finds that individuals in their 20s and 30s are the largest patrons of bars and cafes across all age groups, whereas those in their 40s and 50s tend to frequent fast food and 분식 restaurants. Well, that's it for the headlines with Paul Matthews.